Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing a requested video which is a rundown of the Hugo Boss perfume range for women. There is quite a few different Hugo Boss perfumes available, and as always they'll be linked down below, and I try and get the best prices for you, and I'm now doing UK and US links, so hello to everyone in the US. And yeah, there's quite a lot, so this is not going to be a super short video, so settle down, grab your cup of tea, coffee, whatever, and let's go through Hugo Boss perfume range. So I'm going to start with Boss the Scent, and there's a couple of different flankers on this, but the original Eau de Parfum, it's a relatively new release to the market, and I really like it because it's a peachy fragrance and I love peach. There's a little bit of white floral, freesia, osmanthus, and almost like a cocoa bean chocolatiness, but the predominant thing that you get is like a fresh peach. It's very feminine, it's very inoffensive. This would be good for work or the office, I think, and I think it works well sort of spring summer with that peachiness. And then there's a couple of other versions which perhaps I'd recommend for winter instead. So there's then an eau de toilette version which has those same notes in, the peach and the white florals, but they've also added in a little bit of sweetness like some honey. And you also get some mandarin in the initial spray, and then in the dry down you get some orange blossom. So this is like a little bit more pretty. Obviously it's an eau de toilette, so it's not quite as strong as well. So this could be good for layering during the day, or perhaps really good for the summer if you live in a hot climate. The eau de toilette version with that freshness of the mandarin will help just lift the fragrance and make it feel really fresh. So next we have the scent Private Accord. Now this is a deeper, darker version of the scent for her, and definitely a good one for autumn, winter, or evening times throughout the year. So you've got like a coffee bean in here, you've got tonka bean, you've got cocoa, and then there's a little bit of that white floral osmanthus and a little bit of the mandarin in the initial spray to give a nod to the original. But predominantly this is quite a different fragrance with that coffee and tonka bean really coming through, helping it last. It's much more sensual and I don't know what the word is, like warm, like heartful, deeper version of the scent for her. We then have the scent for her Intense, which is a stronger version of the Eau de Parfum. You really get the peach, but they've taken the honey from the Eau de Toilette and added it into this one. So it is like a gourmand sweet peach. It's not overly sweet, but they've taken the cocoa and the vanilla and added vanilla as well. So this does feel much more gourmand and warmer than the other ones in the range. But peach is still the star of the show for me, but it's much less floral and girly, and it's much more like peachy. I think this might be my favorite out of the four. So next we go into the sort of Boss signature long tall fragrances, and we're going to start off with Boss Ma Vie Pour Femme. And you might recognize this one from the adverts with Gwyneth Paltrow, who was the face of this fragrance. So what's really unusual about this is the dominant note is like a cactus flower. So quite unusual, not many cactus perfumes out there, but they have absolutely let the cactus be the star of the show here. And then complementing it, you have pink freesia, you have rose, and then in the base you get some jasmine, but predominantly a woody cedariness. So this is a very typical perfume except for that cactus. You know, that heart rose, those white florals, those woody bases, you know, it's very typical. Lots and lots of perfumes are made up of those notes, but by having the cactus in, it makes it a little bit different. Again, I think this is a really inoffensive, easygoing fragrance, good as a gift, good for work. You can't really go wrong with it. It's just pretty and feminine, and the cactus makes it a little bit unusual, but it's still, you know, it's not niche or anything. It's still very safe, mainstream, pretty fragrance. So it also comes in an intense edition, and this one they have basically just purified it almost. So you've got main note still the cactus, and then there's rose in the heart and cedar in the base, and that's it. So they've taken all the other notes out and made it just cactus, rose, cedar. So it's more cactusy, it's more rosy, and it's a bit more woody. So it does last a bit longer, and it's a bit more interesting, I guess, than the original, because you're getting that cactus coming through with the rose. You know, not many other perfumes have that, so it's a bit different. There's also a floral edition of Ma Vie where the freesia and the jasmine are sort of pumped up and allowed to be much more dominant. So for me, you still get the cactus as the main note. They've also added a little bit of amber in here, which helps support those white floral notes. But predominantly, this is really quite similar to the original, just a bit more floral. We then have Boss Dior Perfume, again with Gwyneth Paltrow. This is the white bottle, and this is really a white fragrance. So the main thing you get here is white floral notes. Think sort of British, lily of the valley, honeysuckle, freesia, English country garden white notes. And then they've put some grapefruit blossom in and some lime, which you get in the initial spray. So the initial spray is quite fresh, limey, and then it fades into those white floral pretty scents. And then the base, the heart, is like amber and a bit of birchwood. So this is very much like spring, walking in the British countryside, lily of the valleys blossoming, and there's birch trees around you. I think this would be a quite pretty like wedding fragrance, because it's just so, well, it's white and it's just very pretty and feminine. We then have Boss Nuit Perfume, which again uses the peach as the star of the show and has white florals as well. But they've added in some violets, some mossy notes, some woody notes, and some kind of like fresh ozone-y notes. So this is like a take on the pink version. So having the peach in there almost reminds me of the Boss the Scent. This is a little bit more deeper and darker than the pink and the white versions. I guess hence why it's in that black, but it's still not like a, you know, super evening scent or super woody Christmas scent or anything. It's still peach, it's still white floral. So if you're undecided, I would go and try the pink, the black, and the white. For me, probably like the intense pink is probably my favorite. So now moving on to Boss Woman. This was released in 2000 and it's still sold. It's been around for a long time. This is a mango perfume mixed with freesia predominantly. It's quite unusual to get those mango vibes, and the freesia helps make it a bit more traditional floral perfume, but the mango still comes through. There's a woody base, a little bit of violet, and some sort of mandarin orange in the initial spray, but predominantly what you're getting here is mango and freesia. I think this is one of those perfumes that's been around for a long time. People have been using it since 2000 and it's their go-to perfume, and you can usually find this at quite a good price. So if you're a fan of Hugo Boss, you're looking for something at a good price, then this is probably a good one for you. And if you like mango, of course I'll leave the links down below to where you can get this at a good price. In 2014 we get Hugo Woman Eau de Parfum, not to be confused with Hugo Woman. This is a plummy berry fragrance, gourmand, bit sweet, but with some grassy notes in there, so keeping it quite fresh. This kind of reminds me of like a spring type fragrance. There's some nice mandarin in the initial hit, and it just feels to me like quite a nice neutral fragrance, maybe good for a young person who's looking for something feminine but not overly feminine. And the bottle again is quite sort of neutral, so perhaps if you're a bit of a tomboy, you don't want a great big pink bottle on your dressing table and you're just looking for a neutral, nice, fresh fragrance, and this would be a good one for you. More recently in 2016, they released an extreme version of this, Hugo Woman Extreme. The main note you get here is like a boysenberry, like a blackberry, but then you get lots of green notes, grassy notes, like a tea, like a fresh tea leaf type notes. And then the osmanthus and jasmine are back again. They seem to be the white floral notes that Hugo Boss likes to use again and again, but predominantly it's that boysenberry that you get here. So I guess the pink bottle kind of gives away that this is a little bit of a sort of berry fragrance. This is definitely like a fun version, and again you can usually get this at quite a good price. So next we have Hugo Boss Femme. This has been out for a long time. I think 2006 it was released. It's a pretty pink bottle. It has its following and it's a floral perfume. The main notes are rose, freesia and lily. But there is some sweetness of apricot, blackcurrant, tangerine, fresh citrusiness. So again, I think this is a really good present. It's very classic, easygoing, good for work, good for the office, and you can usually find this discounted as well. So it's like a kind of pink version of the other sort of Hugo woman ones, like inoffensive, classic, good for the office, like a lot of the Hugo Boss clothes are, I guess. So a well-known perfume from Hugo Boss is Hugo Boss Orange. Of course, there are lots of different men's versions of this. What's interesting is the women's version actually doesn't have any orange in it. Let me just take that in for a second. There's no orange in Hugo Boss Orange. No mandarin, not even citrus notes. The main note is creme brulee. So this is like a vanilla sweet perfume. The fruity note that they have put in here is green apple. So you get the creme brulee, you get the green apple, and I think because you see the orange bottle, you hear the orange name, that can smell to you like orange because you've got that sweet vanilla, fresh or apple. It kind of is like an orangey, syrupy orange. It's actually not though, there's no orange in here. I don't know why they haven't put orange in it. You'll have to ask them. There's a sandalwood base and some sort of floral, generic floral notes in the heart, but predominantly it is quite sweet. But not so sweet that it's sort of shocking or inoffensive, and it's not amazing for lasting either, so you could definitely wear this to the office and it would be fine. It wouldn't be overpowering at all. But you want something sweet for the office that's not overly floral, then this is a good option for you, but it's not orange. So in 2001 we got the classic deep red from Hugo Boss. This is a blood orange perfume, hence the red, that red of the blood orange. There's also blackcurrant clementine, so lots of fruity notes in here, and then some sweetness of vanilla. There's sandalwood and musk, a little bit of ginger which gives it a kick. So this comes across as a fruity, musky, really solid perfume. I'd say of all the Hugo Boss perfumes, this is probably one of the best, and that's probably why it's been around for so long, because if you like sweets but you want a bit of body and staying power from that muskiness and the sandalwood, then this is a good one for you. You know, I love blackcurrant, I love blood orange, there's a bit of pear in here, so I love fruity notes. But the musk and adding lots of notes in the base really helps this last and have good staying power. And this definitely has a little bit of a cult following. So if you like that kind of blood orange, blackcurranty, fruity type smell, then definitely check this one out. And because it's been out for so long, you can usually get it at a good price. Lastly, we have Hugo Boss XX. This is kind of fruity perfume. You've got lychee and blackcurrant, but there's also a lot of jasmine in here. This is like a jasmine perfume essentially. The rose and the musk in the heart help it last, but predominantly you're getting jasmine, fresh lychee, and then sweet syrupy blackcurrant. So I guess it's like a fruity floral in a way that a lot of the Hugo Boss perfumes are. Quite sort of innocent, simple. Again, the bottle is quite neutral, so good if you want something that's not overly feminine. And yeah, it's just like a fresh classic Hugo Boss perfume. So that is it. That's my rundown of all the Hugo Bosses. Let me know if you have any of these, if you wear them, what you think, which one is your favorite. There are so many to choose from, I know. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. I'd love to have you here in my little perfume world on the internet. But that's it. So everything's linked down below as always, and do just go check them out. Let me know what you think, and let me know your requests for any other perfume videos, because I love doing your requests. But that's it, so thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.